Hello, angels. I hope you're all well, and I hope you guys and your family members are all doing okay. Welcome to today's history and geography lesson. We're still looking at our unit, which is the discovery of the New World and the foundation of the United States of America. And this is lesson 3 of that unit, and we're still focusing on comprehension. So this lesson is for Tuesday, the 12th of May, and your lesson intention is to understand why the Pilgrims worked so hard to survive. This is a reminder that you can pause the video as much as you want to listen, read, or reread the text. And also, don't forget to write your lesson intention and your date on your work before submitting it via email. So for this lesson, you're going to have 2 tasks. The first one is for you to generate comprehension questions for somebody reading the text. So the same thing that we did last week, except for this time, you're going to be generating questions for chapter 7 and chapter 8. And I would like you to generate at least 3 questions per chapter. And remember, make sure that your questions relate to the text. And those of you who did this assignment last week, well done. I have to say, you guys, your questions were incredible. They linked exactly to the text. And a lot of you actually submitted more than 7 questions, which was really, really impressive. So well done. Chapter 7, Onboard the Mayflower. Elizabeth spent much of her time exploring the ship. She watched as sailors pulled on ropes to raise large cloth sails. When the sails puffed out of the wind, the ship moved faster over the waves. Soon, the weather changed and strong winds began to blow. Giant waves crashed against the ship and rain leaked below deck, soaking the travelers' clothes and beds. The Mayflower tossed from side to side. The Pilgrims were afraid that the ship would sink. Elizabeth was no longer excited to be sailing to their new home. Long weeks went by. The Pilgrims got tired of living in such a small space. People were getting sick. Then early one morning, a sailor up in the crow's nest yelled, "Land! I see land!" All of the Pilgrims rushed up on the deck to see. Their voyage was almost over. So pause the video and generate at least 3 questions on chapter 7. Chapter 8. The Pilgrims work hard to survive. Some of the Pilgrims set off first to find a good place to settle. They finally chose a place they called Plymouth, after the town they had left behind. Elizabeth couldn't help but wonder if there would be strange creatures in the forest. Would the Wampanoag and other Native Americans welcome them? The Pilgrims had arrived just as the weather was turning cold. They needed to build homes as quickly as they could. They worked hard cutting down trees. They would use the wood to build their homes. Not only was it getting cold, they were worried they might run out of food. To stay warm, the women and children stayed on board the Mayflower. During that first winter, many of the Pilgrims became sick and died. It was a sad time for the Pilgrims. By springtime, many of the Pilgrims were able to move into their new homes. It would soon be time to plant crops so that they would have food to eat. Then one day, a man came to visit the Pilgrims. His name was Squanto, and he was a Native American. Squanto could speak English. Even though the Pilgrims had settled on Native American land, Squanto helped them plant crops, such as beans, corn, pumpkins, and other vegetables. Thanks to Squanto, the crops grew well. Soon it was time to harvest them and to celebrate. The Pilgrims decided to have a feast of Thanksgiving. They invited their Native American friends. At the feast, people ate deer, turkey, corn, beans, pumpkin, and freshly baked bread. They gave thanks for the food they had to eat. Then everyone enjoyed an afternoon of fun and games. So pause the video here and generate at least 3 questions on chapter 7. Now for task 2, top 10 facts. I would like you to do some research about Christopher Columbus, and I would like you to write 10 facts about him. Now, this could be based on your research and what you already know, or this could just be based on what you already know from all the learning we have done on Christopher Columbus. So remember, for this task, I would like you to come up with 10 facts on Christopher Columbus. Now, I've put in some online resources for you. You all know BBC Bite Size, so all you have to do is just type in BBC Bite Size and put in Christopher Columbus, so you can use that for your research. Also, Horrible Histories, which is a great resource because we've used this a lot in class. You just go into YouTube and type in Christopher Columbus. It's a fun site where you get to watch what happened in history in a child-friendly kind of way. I think you guys, you know about Horrible Histories anyway, so you really enjoy this one. And then the next one is also National Geographics. You type in National Geographics and you put in Christopher Columbus, and then you get a lot of information. So hopefully these 3 online resources site should help you with your research. All right. Lastly, I wanted to remind you again about the free history storytime podcast. So if you haven't had time to listen or to check it out, please do, because they have lots and lots of stories by children for children. And I know you guys are going to enjoy this. Okay. So we look forward to receiving your work this week. Take care.